Before we get into this episode of Nintendo Switch games to buy before they become rare and expensive, I just want to quickly mention that this is not investment advice. I only recommend picking up these games if you genuinely want to play them or have them in your collection. But the first game that I have to talk about on today's video is Fantasy Life I, the Girl Who Steals Time. And the reason I want to bring up this game is because there is a physical copy available for the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. There's a dedicated Switch 1 physical, and there's the Nintendo Switch 2 edition physical copy that I have right here, which will play on both the Switch 1 and 2. But the only copy that's available is a Japanese copy, so you will have to import it. Now, you can buy this game from places like Video Games Plus or Play Asia, I believe, but it's not the most common or easy game to find. And this game has become a hit for the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2 as well. So I imagine as time goes by, as the years go on, this game will get more expensive, probably harder to find. I have noticed a trend with a lot of Japanese import games, not all of them, but a lot of them over time do end up going up in price. And if you're curious what this game is, you can play in a lot of different jobs or class types, like an archer, a mage, or a farmer. You have to unlock the farming class, but different stuff like that, a miner. And if you play with an action build, the game pretty much plays like an action JRPG. It's very story driven. It does have elements that are similar to farming, life sims, stuff like Animal Crossing, but it also does play like an action JRPG, really story driven, really fun game actually. I've got about 8 hours in it, and I'm definitely looking forward to at least completing the main story in this game, but it has a lot of content even beyond the main story. Moving on to the second game on today's video is Fading Afternoon Uncensored Edition. And this game was actually recommended to me in the comments by a viewer, so thank you so much for that. But this game is basically a story-driven game where you play as a Yakuza member, and it is a 2D side-scrolling action beat-em-up as well. Now, this Uncensored Edition, I believe, will hold its value and possibly become even more valuable in the future because it doesn't have the basic content that the normal release got. This one has, I guess, added content where they have blood and even some more mature dialogue in this game, because I know a lot of people believe that art should not be censored. So I'm guessing this publisher probably put out the standard release first so they can have, you know, maybe like a rated teen or something on it. And then they put out this Uncensored Edition, which does have an 18+ PEGI rating on it. But you can buy this game here in the US. If you just Google it, it'll take you to Video Games New York Soft, I believe, and they're selling it on their website there if you're interested in picking this one up. Now, the third game on today's episode is one that my cousin actually brought to my attention when he told me that he was interested in it. I thought it would be perfect to put in this series, and that game is The Thing Remastered. Now, this is a game that's based on the movie, and this is kind of like an action survival horror game, third-person shooter. And if you know anything about game collecting, usually it's the survival horror games that do tend to go up in value over time. Now, I believe you can snag this game right now for the low price of like $30, but because it is a niche game, it is a remake of a kind of classic game, and it is a survival horror game, I can definitely see this one possibly becoming rare and expensive in the future. Now, before I go on to the next pick, I just want to ask, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button. And if you know how to take advantage of the new feature on YouTube, please give me those hype points as well. And if you enjoy Nintendo Switch 1 and 2 content and you're not already, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. The fourth game that I want to mention is one that kind of has already gotten a bit rare and expensive because it is a limited run game, but I was on eBay and I was actually able to find a copy being sold for 60 bucks. It was already opened and used, but I planned to play the game anyway, so that didn't matter to me. But that game is Persona 3 Portable for the Nintendo Switch. Now, yeah, these have already gotten kind of pricey and hard to get, but I've actually noticed, checking prices on eBay, that the prices on this one have gone down a bit. And actually, I think they've kind of gotten lower than Persona 4 Golden. the limited run version for the Switch. That's the only way you can get physical copies. And actually, by watching another Nintendo YouTuber out there, shout out to Minato Max, I did learn that there's a limited run store in North Carolina. So if you're in the North Carolina area, maybe there's a chance you can still pick these games up cheaper and physically at the limited run store. But I've noticed that you can still sometimes snag deals getting these at affordable prices on eBay's, maybe even if you go through the auctions. So for game number 5 as well, I will just say let's throw Persona 4 Golden on here as well, because I have seen it for somewhat decent prices on eBay's, and if you're doing the auctions, you can still maybe get Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden for decent prices physically on the Nintendo Switch. Now, game number 6 that I believe could possibly become rare and expensive is a strategy or tactical JRPG, and that game is Goblin Slayer for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I've seen mixed reviews on it. Some people say it's kind of mid or bad. It has got some good reviews as well, but this is a really niche game that has come out at the very end of the Nintendo Switch life cycle. So I definitely do believe over time, this one possibly could become harder to find and more expensive. The next game on this list, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if it'll really ever become hard to find or more expensive, but I do want to bring it up because it is a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and that game is Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar. Now, as we all know, these Nintendo Switch 2 cartridges are more expensive to produce, and this game does contain the Nintendo Switch 1 and Nintendo Switch 2 version all on the cartridge. The physical copy even does come with a manual, which is really cool, has the inside artwork, the full physical treatment and everything, which is really nice. There also is like collector's edition or premium edition of this game, which is only 20 bucks more. The standard physical is 60 and the premium is 80. I think at least the premium, I'm sorry, got tongue tied there. I do believe at least the premium edition, if kept sealed, will definitely hold its value, but this also is a true physical Nintendo Switch 2 game, which is kind of rare right now, that has come out early in the Switch 2 life cycle. So it is possible, I think, that this one could at least retain its value or maybe even become more sought after years down the line when it's out of print, because I do wonder with these Switch 2 cartridges how long they're even going to stay in print, because they are much more expensive to produce. Now, I usually try to stick to standard retail releases on these buy before rare and expensive videos, but I've been doing this series for a long time. This might end up being the series finale, or it may be a long time before I do another episode, but I am going to finish this one off by talking about some more limited run games, because all these games are available to get at decent prices right now from Video Games Plus. I know a lot of people like me don't like ordering directly from limited run games because of how long they can take. But the next one that I want to mention is Rocket Knight Adventures. And I believe this has, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 games on it. You get like the Super Nintendo version and the Sega Genesis version. Now, these games are considered top tier, classic 2D platformers. And the one that I will mention after that is Felix the Cat, which is a classic platformer as well. I believe it has like the NES and Game Boy version on this collection. Don't quote me on that. I didn't do my research for the video, but it is available there as well. And then the final game that I will mention is the Castlevania Dominus collection. And this has all the Nintendo DS classic Castlevania games all on the cartridge available. But I really appreciate you all watching this episode so much. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I will catch you on the next one.